Rupa Goswami's verse is the Mongol Acharan, or the invocation, the first verse of his Astakal Lila Stotra. And it's very important and worth memorizing. Sri Radha Prana Bandhosh Charan Kamalayo Kesha Shesh Adyagamya Ja Sadhya Prema Seva Braja Charita Parayada Garu Lo Laika Labhya Shashat Praptayatam Pratayitum Aduna Manasi Masya Sevam Bhavyang Ragadri Pantair Brajamanu Choritam Noitikam Tashyanomi. Now, let me just give the translation in Bengali first, because it will make it easier for me to translate this verse into English. The translation runs as follows. Brahma, Shiv, and Anantadev Jaha Avogata Huete Samartha Nohim, or Sujog Panna. Another big devatas like Brahma, Shiv, and Anantadev. They don't know about this, and they don't have the adhikar to serve in such pastimes. Ekmatra Braja Lilar Proti Pragaro Anurag Lalasha Natakile Jaha Lab Koriti Para Jai Na. In other words, the only way to enter into this realm and to achieve success is to follow in the Brajavasi's footsteps with Anurag, or Lalasha, or Lobe. And that's the way to attain these leelas. Ragmargir Patik Barga Jaha Sarvada Bhavana Korite Takin. Those who are on the Ragmarg, they always meditate on these pastimes. Sri Radhikar Prana Bandhu Sri Krishna Charan Kamala Se Manasis Prem Seva Je Upai Labh Hoy Se Upai Prakash Koribar Nimita Tadiya Doinandin Braja Choritar Ke Namaskar Kori. In other words, in order to become eligible to attain the lotus feet of Radharani's Prana Bandhu Sri Krishna, one should take to Manasi Seva, that Prem Seva, as the means to attain the goal. Se Upai Prakash Koribar Nimito, for showing the way to take up this path, I offer my obeisances to their Astakal Braja Leelas. It's a very important verse. It's the essence in a nutshell of Ragmarg Bhakti. And that's what this book is about.
I'm seeing that everything of this is in Sanskrit, only the last part is in Bangla.
Well, this is the Bengali translation, and this is the Tika of, what's his name?
It doesn't say. In the beginning of the book,
the Vrindavan Das.
Vrindavan Das Thakur.
No, not Vrindavan Das Thakur. It's another Vrindavan Das.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. The nishanta lila. Ratrante. At the end of night, Trasta Brindarito, Moho Bir Boya Bodhito, Kirasai, Padya Ritar of Api, Sukashayan Utito, To Shokibi, Dristo, Hristo, Tadot, Voti, Roti Lolito Kakati Gi Shashanko Radha Krishna Satrishna Abdapi Nija Nija Dam Yapta Talpo Smurami.
This one.
10, 9 and 10. No, oh, okay. 10, 10, yeah. Divas Agumon Shankito. Fearing the arrival of the daylight, the daytime, Brinda decides to wake up Radha Krishna at the end of the night, and to do so she calls for the shuks and the sarikas and all sorts of other forest birds to begin their chirping, and hearing their kolarab, hearing their calls, Evam Priya o Apriya Kovita Pater Shabde Pravodito. And some of the things they say are pleasing, some of the things are not pleasing. And what's pleasing is they're describing their beautiful forms, but what is not pleasing is that they have to separate and leave for their own homes, or else they will be scandalized, they could be caught. So these poems are to alarm them and to get them thinking about how they can leave the kunja and return safely to their own homes. Tat kalu chita roti bhore klanta. At this particular time, both Radha and Krishna are very tired from enjoying a night of Rati Keli. Dur huete shokigon kartri drishta. And the Shokis are looking into the Mandir and seeing them in this situation. And then Kati Bonari, this Chitkar Kori Shankito. And then towards the end of the Lila, this monkey, female monkey named Kakati, calls out that Jatila is coming, and then that really scares Radharani. And she starts to run, She doesn't want to be caught by Jatila. So this is the last call that really gets them separated. Se Radha evam Krishna Paraspore Proti Satrishna Nayane Avalokan Koriti Korite. In other words, Radha is fleeing and she's looking into Krishna's eyes, in a very troubled state. And Krishna is looking in his Priyasi Radha and feeling great pain that he has to be separated from here. And the Shokis are also feeling great pain that Radha and Krishna are in a state of anxiety, and they're very afraid. Nija Nija Bhavare Gaman Purvak Sajjai Shayan Korilan. Okay. Brindar Nidesh Anubarti Bihangai Shakal Kunje Avamon Korea Mukir Nai Avastan Koitechu. Anantar Tahar Agyapa. In other words, all the birds came and sat in their prescribed places, and they're silent. They're waiting for the signal given by Brinda Devi to start their kolarab. Anantar Tahara Agyapaya Anande Kunjir Choturdike Kolara Kuritilaku. And they all begin calling from there. Draka Bolite Shadigon, the female parrots, are in the grapevines. Durimba Brike Shukragon, and the pomegranate trees are resting the shukas, Amrabrike kokila and kokila, the male and female kokiles, are in the mango trees. Pilubrike kopot, the kopot, you know what a kopot is?
No, pigeon.
Yeah, pigeon, right. Pilu, they're in the pilu trees. And the condomba brickers are the peacocks. Lotus chocolate bromor, and the bees are buzzing in the lotus. Dora tole kukut shokol kolera korite aramokor. And on the ground are the roosters. They are calling. Anantar makaranda lubda alikul komal dol shayan shovito kushumita lata jal bushito kunja muttejano roti poti mongol shanka dwani sadrisha gunjan koritilato. Then those bees, those bumblebees, who are mad after the pollen of the flowers, they were just previously, they were trapped in the lotuses, but when the lotuses are opening, they come out. Lata jala bushita kunja matti janu roti poti mongo shanka dwani shadrisha gunjan koritilato. They're making a sound, a humming sound, a buzzing sound, like the sound of Cupid's shanka or conch shell. Oisamai, Morupan Matta, Bipul Ananda Utfula, Brahmodigan, Morupani Matta Hoya, Govinder Prabodhaner Nimitta. Jankar Choli, Roti Mongol Janak, Jalari Namak Badya Bishesher Dhwani Nai Gun Gun Shabda Koritilato. The last verse was about the male bees, and now this is about the female bees. Brahmadi. Asamoi modupan mata. They're intoxicated by drinking water from the flowers. Bipul ananda utfula. They are in great pleasure. They're experiencing great pleasure by drinking the honey from the flowers. The brahmaris, the female bees. Modupani Mattavoya, after becoming intoxicated by drinking the modu. Govinder Prabodhaner Nimitta, in other words, to wake up Govinda. They make a sound like rotis. Roti is Kamadeva's wife. Like the Jankar, Choli, Mongol Janak, Jalari Namak Bhatya Vishesh. There's a Jalari, is what Roti is playing, it's the instrument she plays. And Jalari Namak Bhatya Vishesher Dhwani Nai Gun Gun Shabda Bharitila. The sound of their gun 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 is like Roti's Jankriti. Here it says Jalari, but this is actually, the word is Jankriti. That's the name of this instrument. Scary situation. Thus she signals for a variety of forest birds to begin chirping. And with the selected poetry of the parrots, both pleasing and piercing, Radha and Krishna arise. The Shokis and Manjaris then enter the Shayan Mandir with laughter and merriment. But when Vrinda sees everyone forgetting the necessity to quickly return home, she motions to Kakati, an old female monkey, who shrieks, "Jatila is coming!" Thus, in fear and haste, Radha Govinda separate to scurry homewards, to slip into their own beds before sunrise. You see, the verse isn't there. This is the nishanta. This is the nishanta lila verse, sutra. But where's the verse? It's not there. It should be there. Okay. This sutra summarizes the events described in Govinda Lila's first chapter, 117 verses. Vrindavan city. The Nishanta Lila takes place in Vrindavan's most excellent location, Sri Gobinda Stali, which is a large island caressed by Sri Jamuna's main stream and tributary. It is shaped like a hill resembling a tortoise's back that is crested by the breathtaking Jogpit Mandir of Radha Govinda. This is the last Jogpit, the evening Jogpit. It's in Govinda Stali. The first Jogpit is at Nandagram by Gupta Kunda, and the second Jogpit is at Radhakund in Vishaka's Bower. This enchanting mandir is surrounded by 4 types of desired trees, namely Harichandan, Santanak, Mandar, and Parijat. As the fragrant pollen from the flowers fall to decorate the ground, hither and thither swarms of bumblebees enact their buzzing. This sounds like the humming vibration of Cupid's bowstring. Encircling the desired trees are 4 beautiful mandaps with flower vines of Madhavi, Malati, Malika, and Swarna Juti growing from their bases. Beyond these mandaps are 4 kunjas. Swetambuj Kunj, the white lotus flower in the north, the site for Radha Govinda's Madhupan Lila. And this happens after Ras. Lilaamrita Kunj, the blue lotus flower in the east. After Ras Lila and Jamuna Jal Kili, Radha Krishna come here for dressing. Then they go to Arunamrita Kunj, the red lotus flower in the south. This is where Radha Govinda enjoy late evening bhojan. That's after 12 midnight. And then they retire to Hemambuj Kunj, the golden lotus flower in the west. This immense bower is the resting place for all the Shakis and Manjaris and Radharani's jute. In the center is Radha Govinda's jeweled Shayan Mandir, encircled by a grove of golden banana trees. Beyond, in the 8 directions, are the Shayan Mandirs of the Astashakis. Next, just like in my kunj, when I meditate at the end of the night being part of Mashuki, I'm in a kunj in the center, and all my Astashakis are surrounding me, and kunjas in the 8 directions around me, like that. But that's in a corner of the Hemambuj Kunj also, where Gadadhar is resting in the very center there with all of his Shakis, you know. Our kunj is like a wing, a sub-kunj of that big kunj, you know. In other words, in the center are Radha Krishna. After the Astashakis, next there are consecutive spheres of kunjas that double in number, beginning with 16, after 8, then comes 16, then comes 32, 64, and so on. We're in infinite gopi state rest. There's millions of gopis sleeping there. Because Radharani's jute, there's millions of gopis. At the outer perimeter of Hemambuj Kunj, in the 4 directions, Sri Brinda Devi, Sri Brindarika, Sri Menaka, and Sri Murla Devi act as doorkeepers. This Murla Devi is Vamsivana. Govinda Stali is described in more detail in Govinda Lilaamrita's 21st chapter. The Manjari Seva. Sri Jadunandan Thakur comments, in the previous sutra, the codes of the Nishanta Lila were presented. Now listen, an expanded narration will bring unending delight. At the end of the night, Radha and Krishna sleep on a flower bed in a flower-laden kunj to relieve their fatigue of praying kili. As they embrace, Krishna appears like a blue sapphire murti, and Radha a murti of pure gold. Sensing the day's arrival, the Manjaris arrive to cheerfully perform their respective duties. Now, Radha and Krishna are not wearing clothes at this time. That's why their beauty is fully visible, as they embrace. Sri Jadunandan Thakur inserts this verse to briefly include the Manjaris and their seva. In Krishna Bhavanamrita, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti illumines this subject further. Being eager to perform their timely nishanta seva, the Manjaris automatically rise before the night's end. But was it Nidra Devi herself who personally woke them? I think it's Nidra Devi who wakes me too. I don't need an alarm clock anymore. I wake up at 2:10, and it's just I just wake up and I look at the clock and it's 2:10. It's amazing. It's Nidra Devi who's waking me up. And when their eyes open, they suddenly look this way and that in panic to consider: has the time to begin our seva elapsed? They're a little bit worried. Are we too late? Then, upon realizing that Rosika Nagar and Rosika Nagari still remain asleep, having concluded Ananga's festival, the Manjaris quietly sit up on their beds. Yet while yawning, they cleverly jest with one another as if to weigh the ras from their previous evening. "Oh, Shakis," they say, "you've been sleeping after enjoying a night with the Nikunja Raj, but has your rest ended?" Due to the insufficient sleep, however, everyone's eyes whirl like tired bumblebees. Thus, when their glances fall upon their lotus-shaped breasts, they show off the pollen-like bruise marks left by Krishna's nails. Now there's a debate that can happen. Is it really Krishna who caused these roti chinnas to appear on their body? Or are these roti chinnas appearing on their body by viewing Radharani's pastimes with Krishna and being tanmoya with Radha? Either it doesn't explain here which is what happens. Which way is it happening?
But both are possible.
Yeah, of course. That's why he explains it this way. He doesn't say it had to be this way or it had to be that way. He leaves that option for you to understand. Meanwhile, some of the Manjaris string flower malas, while others prepare pan for the upcoming pastime. But suddenly the cooling Malayan breeze carries Radha Krishna's bodily aroma before their nostrils. And as it lingers, coincidentally, one Sevadasi appears. "Oh, Manjaris," she explains, "come and see the youthful couple for whom your flower malas and pan are intended. Just see how they are tightly embraced within the kunja. Oh, Priya Narma Shakis, come and place your lotus faces up to the Nikunja Mandir's windows and allow your beautiful eyes to freely roam. Having expertly performed the dance of Gadadharpran, Kishore and Kishori were honored by Nidra Devi, who now joyfully embraces them." You see, the Manjaris observe, Radha and Krishna are tightly clasped. Their dress, ornaments, and garlands are distinctly missing. Due to the somber light emanating from the jeweled ghee lamps, Radha's body appears like a soft champak flower, and Krishna's body like a delicate indibar of blue lotus. Experiencing this jubilatry, one Manjari exclaims to another, "Aye, Shaki, look! At the first sight, this couple resemble a dark cloud garlanded by a lightning streak. Are they bathing with a nectar shower of their own madhurya?" Thus amazed, these Manjaris conclude, it is the custom that a master rewards his maidservant upon finishing her seva. But for us, our just reward comes before beginning. In other words, they achieve their highest ambition before they start serving in the morning. They see Radha Govinda embraced in the Kunj, and that's their greatest darshan ananda. You see, the way I presented this, if I would have just translated Govinda, lilaamrita as it is, all this stuff wouldn't be there. If I would go from this verse to the next verse, then all this topic about the manjaris wouldn't be there. So this edition has lots and lots of extra, things in it that really help relish the ras. No other edition has this. The birds begin chirping. The gentle malign breezes permeate the kunj to slowly linger like a groggy person having just awoken. Kissing the newly blooming flowers, the breeze escorts their fragrance in every direction. The intoxicated bumblebees, sleeping within the flowers, then awaken to begin buzzing hither and thither. Hearing the bees, Sri Brinda Devi awakens and sees that the night is ending. Thus she anxiously singles the birds whose motor kala dhwani, melodious chirping, will awaken Vrindavan Ishwar and Vrindavan Ishwari. In Krishna Bhavanamrita, Srila Chakrabarti Pad weaves his description within and around Govinda Lilamrita's dialogue. These 10 verses reveal an important direction which Srila Krishnadas hasn't touched upon yet. Indeed, we shall find that Srila Chakrabarti Pad's Bhavatara line of thinking and deep avish absorption churn the nectar in Govinda Lilamrita Ras. Vrinda Devi directs the forest birds who surround the Nikunja Mandir to remain still like painted pictures. Then, upon receiving her signal, their captivating chirping begins from all directions. It's better we're reading this. You know why? When I try to translate something directly from the book, I don't do it so well. These translations are well thought out, and to come at this conclusion, come to these translations, to printed version, I have to rewrite at least 20 times each verse until it comes out just right. And you can't do that when you translate a verse right off the top of your head, from the book. So that's why I like to read my own translations rather than try to translate freshly, because first of all, it's very hard to do. You have to think a lot, and then you try to put it together into English so it sounds good, and then it doesn't sound so good because it's a rough attempt, So then one after another, I'm doing this, and it tires me out. It's a big tax on my brain to think like that. But this has already been translated, and it's come to the final stage of the translation, and it's very melodious to listen to, and it's filled with ras. So I prefer to just read my books, what I've done in the past, rather than try to translate, right off the top of my head right now.
Prabhu, how long it took for you to translate this?
This book, it took me 5 years to make.
Wow.
The Nikunja Mandir is decorated with hanging flower garlands and a bed thickly smothered in lotus petals. The male bumblebees enter this enchanting mandir in search of pollen. Their humming drone resembles the auspicious sound of Ratipati's conch shell. Ratipati is Cupid, the husband of Rati. Overwhelmed in elation, intoxicated by the honey from the flowers, the delirious female bees enact their gun 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 buzzing. This sounds like the Jankriti, large kartals, played by Cupid's wife. Just as a talented musician's instrument induces the mind and body to dance in elation, the bees' intoxicating concert begins within the flower vines. Then they enter the Vilas Mandir to encircle the flower bed with their sweet vibrations. Hence, as conch shells and jamkriti are pleasing to a mandir's devata, the intoxicating buzzing of the male and female bees render the appropriate seva to Radha Madhava. The male kokils cry continuously, coo-hoo, coo-hoo, in the fifth note. Their sound reverberates like Cupid's veena. Seated by their drunken husbands, the female kokils relish the soft mango buds and indistinctly echo, coo-hoo, coo-hoo. Expert in loud shrills and invoking pleasure, the kokil's singing is so maudlin and sweet that it seems like Cupid and his wife have directly appeared to play the veena and the pipanchi. Thus, Radha Gobinda can neither remain asleep nor sober. A pipanchi is a small-sized veena played by women. The sudden shriek of the pigeons resound. Has Cupid taken the form of a hyena? You know, you hear these calls outside in the night. These are hyenas. Shao, they call them in Bengali. They're called shao. They make these screeching sounds, you know.
I thought they were just dogs.
Not dogs, they're shao. They're the enemy, the dogs are their enemies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they try to kill each other.
Wow.
Only Krishna can topple the mountain-like patience of Srimati Radharani. And besides Radha, no one can control Krishna, who behaves like an intoxicated elephant. In order to candidly disclose this matter, the peacocks resound, K-caw, K-caw. The peacock's question, K, who can topple Radha's mountain-like patience? Ka, meaning Krishna, is the answer. Reversedly, only within K, Radha's noose, is the drunken elephant of Ka, Krishna, captured. The peacocks consider Radha Govinda's mutual attraction is now unfavorable, for they have neglected all fear, modesty, and family members. In this precarious situation, we shall awaken them with a pleasant kirtan of their glories. Now, this is the pleasing kirtan. You know, they say some of the sounds they're making are pleasing, some are not pleasing. Just as Brahmin boys recite the Vedas in the early morning with Vishva, short, Dirga, long, and Pluta, long carried out meter, the roosters call, coo-hoo, coo-hoo, coo-hoo. Coo means inauspicious. When the roosters call coo, 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 they inform that for two lovers who are poradin, under their guardian's jurisdiction, sleeping together in a distant forest kunj at daybreak could certainly lead to a catastrophe. It could spell trouble. If you get caught in this situation, you'll be greatly scandalized. And that's, for Radharani especially, that's something to be greatly afraid of. Krishna Bhavanamrita describes Radha Thakurani's reaction to the roosters crowing. Within her mind, she curses them. Oh, roosters, why don't you go to hell and wake up Jamaraj? You're unfit to remain in my Ananda Vrindavan, creating such displeasing racket. After a moment, the roosters stop, so Radha considers, oh, receiving my curse, they must have gone to hell. Now the morning's arrival is delayed. Thus Srimati Radharani continues dozing in Krishna's embrace. But a moment later, the loud shrills of the roosters return. Srimati reawakens to think, oh, roosters, please forgive me. Just allow us to rest a little more. For a suprabhat, for a nice day, auspicious words are pleasing. The roosters, however, repeatedly recite ku, which means inauspicious. Thus, Sri Radha becomes sarcastic towards them. Hearing the birds, Radha and Krishna sense the night ending. Yet both are aware that the other has awoken. Then, realizing that they have awoken, they are shocked by the thought of having to abandon each other's pleasure embrace. This is anubhav. They're sleeping together in a warm embrace, and they've just woken up, and they don't know that the other is woken yet. They're resting in each other's arms. And the first thought that comes to their mind is, it's trepidation. Are we going to get caught in this situation? They're fearing. It's very dramatic. Hearing the birds, Radha and Krishna sense the night is ending, yet both are unaware that the other has awoken. But they have awoken. Then, realizing that they are shocked by the thought to have to abandon each other's pleasure embrace. Hence, Radha and Krishna's eyes remain closed as they pretend to be asleep. Sri Radhika's, this is important, they're pretending to be asleep. This goes on for a while. I also, in my meditation in nishanta lila, I pretend to be asleep, and Gaurasuna is pretending to be asleep to enjoy our loving embrace a little bit longer before we start to move out of that position. Sri Radhika's pet sari, named Manjubhasini, sits in a bright golden cage in a corner of the Vilas Mandir. This female parrot witnesses Radha Gobinda's most intimate pastimes. She recites her selected poetry as follows. Jai Jai Krishna Chandra Gokule Bandhu, Jai Brajanatha Jaya Rasa Sindhu, Shranta Bodhi Shranta Kanta Jagiya Jago, Shashitolpa Shachachari Nicha Grihecha. This is the Bengali translation, the Padma translation by one great Vaishnava, I forget his name right now. He translated the whole book in Padya. Jai Jai Krishna Chandra, the friend of Gokul. Jai Vrindavanath, you are a Rasa Sindhu. Please rise from your flower bed with a cooling like moon, which is cooling like the moon. Awaken your beloved Kanta, Sri Radha, who is tired from Rati Kili and who has accepted the loving shelter of your two arms. From here up to 37, the Shuks and the Saris recite their poetry to awaken the divine couple. These parrots can speak just like humans. This shouldn't seem astonishing, as previously they were all vastly learned sages and munis. Manjubhasini continues, Hey Brajaraj, the sun is very cruel to the Brajakishoris because it is swiftly rising. So quickly take your beloved and leave the forested Jamuna bank. By mentioning the Jamuna Kul, Manjubhasini warns that the Brajavasis could discover Radha Krishna when coming for their early morning Jamuna Snan. Then Manjubhasini addresses Radha, O lotus-eyed Shaki, O chaste one, you are faultless for having slept with your Bilasi Nagar in the Kunja. Although just see the Shaki of the eastern sky, like Chandrabali, is red with anger because she cannot tolerate your happiness. When Krishna spends the night with Chandrabali, Radha greatly suffers. Then Radha feels that the sun takes ages to rise. On the other hand, when Radha passes an evening with Krishna, it seems that in no time the eastern sky becomes red with jealousy. Thus, Sri Jadunandan Thakur portrays the sun like Chandravali to be Radha's adversary. Yeah, it's disturbing. Why is the damn sun rising? Why can't you hold on and wait a little bit longer? You're disturbing my pleasured sleep with Krishna. Now I have to get up and run home because you're rising on the eastern horizon so quickly. Why don't you take more time in rising? Why don't you let it sleep for a while? Then she gets very angry at the sun for rising. She curses the sun. Oh, Padmanayani Rai, the night is over and the sun is approaching the horizon to begin a new day. Therefore, cast aside the happiness of your cooling bed of soft leaves. The Shubh name Bichakon is an elegant speaker and sober, and due to excessive fondness for Krishna, he is highly exalted. Thus he boldly recites, All glories to the root of the Brajavasi's good fortune. O Achyuta, you're the life of the Brajaramanis and the lotus abode for their bee-like eyes. At every moment you increase Maharaj Nanda's pleasure. Hey Gobinda, you protect your surrendered devotees. All glories to you. Vichakon means clever. These names of Krishna are befitting the moment and suddenly hint Vichakon's intentions to send Krishna on his way home as soon as possible. Because Krishna is the Brajavasi's source of happiness, surely they will anxiously visit him upon awakening. Similarly, the Brajagopis all rush to Nandagram as restless honeybees dart to the early morning's blossoming indibar, or lotus. Then Bichakon mentions about Maharaj Nanda. If he enters your bedroom and finds you missing, what will happen? But of course, you'll quickly arrive home because you're Achyuta, infallible. No one will discover your prem lila with Radharani. Hey Govinda, you're the lotus for the Brajavasi's thirsty bee-like eyes. Just see, the morning has come. So quickly take shelter of your family members and superiors at Nandagram. Otherwise, you'll be embarrassed before them. What's the time?
15 to 7.
You want to stop here? We can read more later.
Okay.
Let's memorize it one time. Hey Banu Nandini Prema Shobhagini Nari Chuda Muni Jai Raman Bodan Padma Madhupane Matto Hoya Tumi Nidre Jao কিন্তু প্রভাত সময় এই তো বলো নাহি জগ বধুরে জগ স্বর নিত্য ছাড়ো নীতি অনুসার রাখো লজ্জা নিজ গৃহে যাও কে শিখাবে তোমা নিজের মহিমা সবারে তুমি শিখাও হে বৃষভানু নন্দিনী রাধে, all glories to you. Because of your exalted prem, you're the most fortunate gopi and the crown jewel of all women. Although you are falling asleep after drinking the intoxicating madhu of Krishna's Mukhardavinda, it may bring trouble for you this morning. So arise, O young one, give up your sleep and quickly proceed homeward to protect your modesty. After all, your behavior is everyone's example. Mani.